What's going on, y'all? This is Jordan with Betterman Productions. Today we're going to do a little piece on what to ask at the parent-teacher conference. I know some of y'all are a little bit intimidated going to the schools, talking with the teachers, trying to learn about your your child's progress. Well, today I'm going to talk to my man Justice Rajee, very involved parent, also works in the school, so he's the educator too. He's going to break down a little bit of the parent-teacher process for us and give us some advice on what to ask when you go to meet with your kid's teacher. So let's check him out, see if he's home. He should be here. I just called him.
Hey,
my man.
what's up?
What's going on? What's going on, man? Let's do this. Let's do this video.
You see me rolling down the block, baby, I'm just grinding. Baby, I'm just grinding. I'm just grinding.
What do you see as like the whole purpose, the point of the parent-teacher conference, and what should a parent be looking, and what do you look to get out of it when you go?
Well, the parent-teacher conference is the best opportunity you have to make an impression on the teacher as to what is important to you as a parent for your child, and to connect some more humanity, more of a background, a backdrop to who this child is in their classroom. Whether they're positive or negative, whatever experience the teacher has with your kids is the experience that they have. And the only other things they have to inform that is, well, what is their parents saying? What do maybe other people in the school that are working with that student say, especially if they're having a negative situation with your student, but also if they're having a positive situation. It's the only way that they get to know you, really. And depending on the structure of your school, you may only have one or two of those a year. A lot of times teachers aren't always, if your students are doing well, able to chase down the parents that are doing well, of kids who are doing well, to say, oh, your kids are doing well, and here's how great they are. So sometimes they can get overloaded with kids that aren't doing well, and so they have to spend more energy and attention on that. So either way, your presence impacts the way the teacher is going to work with your student, or understand what's happening with your student, or in needing interventions, either from more challenging work or work that catches your student up or gets them in a better position. That positive relationship between you and the teacher helps to make that easier.
What are your rights to information as a parent about your kid's education experience?
To my knowledge, you have the right to know what is the curriculum. If there's lessons being taught, the teacher, the most effective teachers, you should be able to see the lesson plan. If you're trying to understand what your kids are working on, these are all questions that the teacher should be able to answer for you. One, because everything that's going on in the classroom should be reflective of the content standards for your district or wherever state, what have you. So it's not a secret. It's not some kind of clandestine learning system that you can't know the outcomes before you get there, so the teacher can't tell you. Like, teacher should be able to share with you, like, this is where we're at, and this is where we're trying to go, with this lesson over the next 2 weeks. So this is what your kids should know at the end. So all of that stuff is things that the teacher should 100% be able to tell you. If you ask them about their discipline, angle plan, or how they handle behavior in class, they should, even if they maybe don't have a specific name for it, but there are specific different structures, and most districts now have some kind of behavior plan that they're trying to implement across the school, just so that you have more consistent outcomes.
3 or 4 most important questions that every parent should ask at the parent-teacher conference. What would those be?
I think the first thing I think you should ask at the first time you're meeting a teacher is what is that teacher's kind of philosophy. Like, ask them, like, what is your teaching philosophy, or what is your belief about teaching, or the approach. Phrase it in the way that works best for you, because you want, I found that people like to tell you about themselves, and that's an opportunity for the teacher to tell you about just who they are as a person. Because most teachers, if they at their core, they love teaching because they love the experience, they love seeing the kids learn, they actually enjoy that environment. It's not just something that they signed up to do because they were hiring. It's like they enjoy this. And most of them will have some reason or some background purpose that's personal about why they do it and an approach that they try to do it from. So for me, that's kind of a humanizing opportunity for them to see, like for you to see something about them that like they're a real person and they have feelings, they have aspirations and beliefs and joy in the world and what have you. And then also, though, that gives you something to understand where they're coming from when they're working with your student. I think you need to ask, and this especially with younger kids, and as you're growing up, if they're starting out, is how much homework should I expect? Because then that time, depending if your kids are in some type of after school program or if they do the homework when they get home, as a parent, it gives you some kind of expectation of what your kids should be doing when you guys get home in the evening. If the kids are playing games or outside doing whatever fun things kids do, you can look and say, well, how much time did they spend on this work, or did they do any homework today? Did I see them read? Did I, so that you start setting up a structure for yourself as to what the educational environment is like for your kids within your own home. If you can ask a question that kind of gets to some way around their cultural competency or their comfort, make sure it's somewhat reflective of the school you're in. If you're in a school where your kids are a really vast minority, like one or two kids of your background in the classroom, ask the teacher about that. Like, what is their comfort level with that? How do they think about that? How do they approach that? I wish I could give you just like the crystal clear way to ask it, but I think it's something you got to say it from your own words, and however it comes out is how it comes out, and how they respond to it is how they respond to it. But what you want, the intent there is that they have some idea that you're aware that, okay, yes, I know there's only 2 other black kids in this class, and you as a teacher may have the best intentions in the world to not have those kids have a negative experience, but it could still happen. You know what I mean? And in the other direction where maybe 50%, 60% of the class is African American or whatever your particular background is, there could still be content that's coming at an angle where it's not maybe really still not necessarily positive, or the kids may have a more negative reaction. Whatever it is, you want to make sure that teacher has thought about this, that they've took some time to think about the culture and the background of my kids that I'm teaching affects the way I should teach them. It should become a part of how I design activities, how I design programming, what stuff we watch. Like, it should be a presence. And by asking that question, you let the teacher know that you're looking at it, and if that teacher hasn't thought about this, they're probably going to give you an answer that's less than sparkling, or, it may be something they'll say, I need to go to the drawing board and work on that, because no one's really asked me about that before, and so now it's on my radar. Also, again, you have to bear in mind the potential cultural myths that teacher might have. And if they're, the fathers, if you're African American, fathers aren't present. So mom's the only one that ever shows up. I never taught the dad's never around. Whether or not, we're not going to just say that teacher thinks about us in that way, but it's on the radar. It's like, yeah, and the pops never comes. Dad never comes. Dad never shows up. Dad never calls. Dad never sends an email. Student rarely ever talks about that. Maybe they do. I don't know. Whatever it is, it's going to affect the way that teacher thinks about you, and how you fit into that student's life. Also, like I said, if whether together or separate, parents need to be on the same page in terms of what's happening with the kids. So if you and your partner, if the parents aren't together, and it's not a healthy situation for you both to be in the conference at the same time, in my experience, most teachers one, as a parent, you have the right to still go to the school, to have meetings with the teachers in question, the principal, whomever. For the best outcome, best results, I would suggest that you and the mother, or the mother and the father, find a way to be able to positively communicate around the education piece, because you don't want a situation where the school becomes this third party to a disagreement between you two. But, you know, most teachers will understand that the kid's the most important thing here. And so if I got to meet with dad separate, got to meet with mom separate, that's cool.
Yeah, man. Good looking. All right, man. Hey, thanks a lot, man.
Oh, you're welcome.
Appreciate it. I'll get at you, all right?
All right, be safe.
Peace.
Peace.
All right, that was my man, Justice Rajee. He broke it down for us. Really thankful for him. And I also want to remind you that if your child is in first grade, kindergarten, all the way through high school, and you should be able to ask the teacher also the reading level of your child, even for high school. So as you know, probably that most African American children, especially males, are reading below grade level. So you want to make sure to ask that and check on the progress quarterly. Every teacher should be able to have a quarterly report on your child's progress in terms of reading, and the same thing goes for math. That's just some last words of advice. Thanks. This is Jordan Thierry again with Betterman Productions. Till next time, peace.